It's happening. Like, the perception of mental health is literally changing right now. Like, it is happening. There's a wave going on, there's a shift, there's a movement. Hi everyone, welcome to Sanctus TV episode 19. I'm James Routledge, the founder of Sanctus, and this week we're going to talk about what has possibly been the biggest ever week in the history of mental health. Mental health seems to be absolutely everywhere, all over the news at the moment, and it really looks like 2017 is going to be the year that the stigma is going to get smashed and the perceptions around mental health are going to change. The reason this week's been so big has been for two reasons, I think. Firstly, you've had Prince Harry talk very, very openly about mental health and even start to use the phrase mental fitness.
I can't stand the idea of young kids and teenagers, having to deal with these issues alone and not being able to talk about it with their parents, not being able to talk about it with their buddies at school because of fear of the stigma, expectation. You've got all of these children where they think that everybody else's life is absolutely perfect. Guess what? We all have mental fitness. What we're trying to normalise is that conversation.
Now, Prince Harry is a royal, he's British, he's male, so for someone like him to speak out and speak openly, not only about mental health, but using phrases like mental fitness is massive when we're talking about changing the perception around mental health. Secondly, it's been the London Marathon this week, what's been coined the mental health marathon. Completing a marathon is a really impressive feat to be proud of, and to associate that with mental health is a great way, again, changing this perception of it, making people think that actually mental health isn't just for people that are weak and weird and can't handle the pressure. Actually, mental health, mental fitness, mental strength is for people who are running marathons and doing incredible things with them, both their minds and their bodies. So,
from my sort of perspective, just by sharing that little bit to help other people come forward and discuss their own issues, that sort of comes with a job, it comes with a role.
The fact that he's speaking out quite openly about the way that his mother's death has affected him and that grief, and the fact that he bottled that up is really powerful too, because by doing that, he is giving others the permission to do the same.
And we can't really do this whole campaign, ask everybody else to share and then not share ourselves.
When you hold such an iconic position in society, and when he opens up and he shows vulnerability like he has, it gives permission for everyone underneath him to do the same. So it's not actually enough for him to just talk about mental health broadly. He's had to lead with vulnerability, and that's what he's done, and that's why it's been so impressive and so important, the work that he's doing.
For us, it's very much a case of leadership, but also it's a case of, as I said, it's sharing and being part of this team and being part of this movement.
Over the other side of the pond, we've had another really iconic figure stand up, speak out, not necessarily using the terms mental health, mental fitness, but talk about grief and talk about a time in her life that was really difficult for her. And that person's Sheryl Sandberg. So she's the COO of Facebook. She's an iconic, powerhouse of a woman, really. She's written this sort of pretty famous book, Lean In. She's kind of a symbol of just kind of awesomeness. She's absolutely amazing. She's pretty much Mark Zuckerberg's right-hand woman in this case. And she was on the Ellen show, and she's opening up and talking about how her husband's tragic death has really, really affected her.
I used to drop my kids off at school and everyone would say hi, walk into work, and everyone would chit-chat. But after I lost Dave, it wasn't just the grief at home. It was the isolation, this big elephant following me around. People looked at me like I was a ghost. I think they were so afraid to say anything, they said nothing.
It wasn't a really dark and depressing and let's grab the tissues conversation. Don't get me wrong, it was extremely sad. However, she uses a key phrase: resilience is a muscle.
And so I turned to my friend Adam Grant, who's a psychologist, and said, what do I do? Tell me what to do to get them out of this, to get myself through this. And what he taught me is that we're not born with a fixed amount of resilience. It's a muscle, and that means we can build it. We can build it in ourselves and our friends and our children.
So just like Prince Harry, who's starting to talk about mental fitness and this upside of mental health, Sheryl Sandberg's using a phrase like resilience, which is something we identify with strength and adaptability. So the fact that you've got these really powerful people with incredible stature and reputation in society opening up and talking about mental health in a way that's not sad, that's not mad and crazy. They're talking about it in a way that's actually quite aspirational, quite strong, quite proud, quite courageous in many, many ways. And that's the shift that's happening.
You're awesome. You're amazing. You're amazing.
So it's been a pretty amazing week for mental health and for mental fitness. As you can probably tell, I'm absolutely pumped. And if you're not pumped, you should be, because it's happening, you know, this revolution, this wave, this shift is happening right now. And when people stop seeing mental health just as a problem to solve and an opportunity that they can grasp, and they start to grasp it, that's when this perception is going to change, and we're all going to be talking about our mental fitness, and we're not going to be hiding away from our mental health. That's me. I'll see you next week for Sanctus TV episode 20. Thank you very much.